Alright, so now we're going to actually go ahead and apply Pli-Grip to the outside back of a wing chair. Now, again, Pli-Grip is used to close things, most commonly an outside back, but it's also used for other things. For example, here on the side of this wing chair, this curved area, this has Pli-Grip underneath it to close up that wing. But the principles that we're going to show you here would apply to whatever piece that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and apply the Pli-Grip to the top first. I'm going to take a kitchen scissors, again a rough scissors, and I'm going to come over here, and I cut this already once, but you see how that's got a sharp edge there? I'm going to take my kitchen scissors and round that off a little bit. And the reason is because I don't want it to tear through the fabric. Alright? So now I'm going to take my Pli-Grip and I'm going to set it so that that tooth is going to close as close to this corner as possible. Alright, we've got a staple gun here, which is a very important piece of equipment. We sell these here at Fabric Farms Interiors, or a pneumatic one is good too. If you don't have a good stapler, you may have to use tacks, which you can put in each hole. But if you got a stapler, that makes your job a little bit easier. Alright, so we line the edge of this metal right up with the stitching on this cording, which is kind of hard to see because it's black, but that's what I'm doing. I'm lining it up in such a way that it closes as close to that corner as possible. Alright, so we've stapled that one in. Since it's the first one, I like to put two staples in there because I don't want it to move. So there's our two staples. Then we're going to continue on. Okay, now we come to the other side, and you can see we have more Pli-Grip than we need, so obviously we need to cut it down at the appropriate spot. So I'm looking at it, and it looks like maybe right here might be a good spot. So I take my kitchen scissors, cut it across there, and that looks like it'll lay down roughly where I want it. Now again, that edge is a little sharp, so I'm going to take my scissors and sort of round it off. Okay, come across, and I like to put two on that. Now notice we didn't put some staples in some of these holes. Now we need to go back and make sure we got a staple or a tack in every single hole. Now we're going to go ahead and staple in our sides here and here. And we got a sharp point, so let's trim that. And then let's line this one up so that it closes as close to this one as possible. In fact, you can slightly close them like that, and then that'll give you a little closer tolerance there. So you can see they come as close as you can, pretty much as close as you can get them. Alright, we'll take our staple gun again, and there's our first hole. I like to put two staples in the first hole, makes it more firm. And then we continue down. Okay, now when we get down to the bottom, we want to cut the Pli-Grip about a ½ inch from this bottom edge. So here's my bottom edge. I'm going to move up a little bit so it looks like maybe right there would be a good place to cut it. So I didn't go all the way to the bottom, about a ½ inch off the bottom, and trim off your point there again. Alright, so this is our last staple. Put two of them in. Okay, so now I've got this side one completely stapled in. Now I'm going to go to the other side and basically repeat the process. We'll start here at the top. There's our mark, our notch, there's our mark, and we'll pull it so that we have at least a couple inches past there. And we're going to go ahead and do a tuck right there. See how I've done that? Now, if you press kind of up, you'll feel that the teeth begin to engage in the fabric. You can even close it just a little bit. Alright, so we've got the middle of the top. Now we're going to go down to the bottom, right here. We'll find our notch right here, and this is the imaginary line where the notch is, and right here's our mark. Okay, so we're going to make sure that that's lined up properly there. Don't pull too hard, but just enough that you can see just a small ripple of tension there, because it'll get tighter as we go. And we'll put a staple in the bottom, maybe two. Going to fill in from here to here. Close it part way. Okay, now we're going to skip this part, and the reason why is because if you have any trouble with Pli-Grip, it'll almost always be your corners, so I always save that for last. So we're going to skip over to here. Filled in all the way across here, all the way across here, all the way across top. All we have to do now is the corners. I'd like to concentrate on those a little bit more. So let's come over to the corners here. We want to make sure that that's nicely tucked in. Okay, that corner's done. Okay, so now you see we have tucked the fabric in. Start at the bottom. So, find your last piece of Pli-Grip. Cut directly to that last piece of Pli-Grip that you can feel there. Now we're going to trim this all the way around. Now the key thing is you want to trim this relatively close to the Pli-Grip. So one thing you can do is just slightly pull your Pli-Grip out. Not completely out, it's still in the teeth, but just a little bit so that you can cut out a lot of fabric. Then take your scissors and you're going to do what I call little nips. You're going to maybe do a 1/4 inch of fabric at a time, making sure that you get it relatively close to the edge of the Pli-Grip. Down to the bottom. Okay, there's the last little edge of the Pli-Grip. You can cut it out there. So there it is. We've trimmed it out. So I'll start here and we'll go around, tucking again. Take the needle side and I'm just running that across there, and you see how that raw edge now ends up underneath the Pli-Grip. You may have to play with it a little bit. Once you see, now by the way, down here this gets folded like that. Once you see that the fabric is securely under the Pli-Grip, then you can take your thumbs and close it basically all the way, as far as you can with your thumbs. Okay, so you see now we do not have a raw edge, it's a folded edge coming over to the black cording. We've tucked it again, but then we're going to hammer. What kind of hammer? Well, if you can, a rubber hammer is the best. We sell these here at Fabric Farms Interiors. If you don't have a rubber hammer, you can use a regular hammer, maybe wrapped with some fabric. Don't use a black hammer though, because it could leave marks on your fabric. So what you do is just take your hammer now, and you're just going to tap it all the way around, and that brings the Pli-Grip to a complete close. Every now and then you may have just one or two threads sticking out. I see one right here. Just take the end of your needle again, kind of go over it a little bit.